I would like to welcome everyone here today in our viewing audience for the February 10th, 2022 meeting of the City of Davenport Zoning Board of Adjustment. Your participation in city government is appreciated and welcome. If you have a mobile device, please turn it off. It may interfere with room's electronics. My name is Jim Reistruffer, Chairman. To my immediate left is Bridget Carlson, Commissioner. To my far right is Dan Darlin, Commissioner, and my immediate right is Vice Chair, Angela Obrecht.
Labor. Close enough.
Well, I'll get it right.
Yeah, I'm just as bad as you, so.
Staff present is Laura and Scott Coops. The Zoning Board of Adjustment is a 5-minute judiciary board established by state law. We are appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the city council to serve without compensation for a 5-year term. The board meets twice a month to hear appeals involving hardships from strip application of current zoning laws. We also grant special uses and rules on administrative appeals. Are there any corrections to the minutes from our last meeting? See none. Anything, Scott? Okay. Can I get a motion for an approval?
I'll make a motion to approve last.
Second?
Second.
Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Seeing no business, old business, we have none, and we have new business, which I'll read. Request HV 22-02 of Aaron Malley and John Carroll on behalf of Riverwatch LLC at 227 LeClaire Street. In parentheses, I guess that's the case number. It's L00-15801 for hardship variance for section 17.05.050.B and 17.09.030.Q. Setback requirements for new construction of a hotel and dumpster. The CD district requires a 0 to 10 foot built to zone for at least 80% of the street frontage along all 3 public streets of this lot. The proposed hotel will be set back approximately 5 feet from the Clare Street lot line for a temporary 82 feet and 10.5 feet from the lot line for approximately 22 feet along 3rd Street and approximately 60 feet from East River Drive. A dumpster enclosure is proposed for the southwest corner of the lot in the front yard. Dumpsters are permitted within the front and corner side yards. Okay. Yes, is the applicant here?
So we do have someone from the engineering team if there's a question. So there is somebody representing the applicant present.
There is somebody here. Okay,
Oh.
great. May I have the staff reports? Scott?
Scott Copes, Department of Neighborhood Services and Development. So this property is somewhat unique, and if you remember back to the staff report that I wrote, it has frontage on 3 sides. To the north is 3rd Street, to the west is LeClaire, and to the southeast it's River Drive. This is just kind of an area photo. If you remember, if you've been in town for a long time, you'll remember the Howard Johnsons. That's the building here on the subject property. The new hotel, coincidentally, is going to go the other direction. It's going to run north-south a long ways. So this is just a different angle. And here's the site plan that they proposed. And so what the code means is that from this intersection here to the other intersection over here at River Drive and 3rd, 80% of the building must be in that build-to zone of 0 to 10 feet. Now, you'd have to do that for every frontage. So along the frontage of River Drive, the building is supposed to be 0 to 10 feet from the property line for 80% of the distance. Same thing applies on Leclerc. 80% of the length of that building is required to be in the 0 to 10-foot setback, or built-to zone, I think. So it really makes meeting that requirement on a lot such as this, where basically the lot is a whole block, and you have 3 block faces, it makes meeting this code requirement almost impossible to meet unless you're building a very large building. Yeah.
I did want to point out one other thing on that site plan. There's a blue line that runs through that property. That's the delineated floodway on the property. So the whole site is within the 100-year flood. The blue line south towards River Drive is floodway. No, according to our code and FEMA requirements, no habitable buildings are allowed to be built within that area. So that is another component.
Yeah, so with that in place, there is no way to make the building match the requirement on 3rd Street or River Drive. Technically, you might be able to get it to happen on Leclerc Street, but you wouldn't have any place to access. So that's the other part of the code requirement, is that in looking at this site, there's a number of challenges. The frontage is one challenge. The other challenge was development in the floodplain. The site has retaining walls where they've chosen to go closer to the street, and where they're set back a little bit, they have the grade can't exceed a certain elevation of, I guess, a 1 to 3.
Yeah, 3 to 1.
3 to 1 raise.
And that's to raise the building to 1 foot above base flood elevation, which is also a code requirement when building new construction. So they're balancing dealing with floodplain regulations with zoning build-to regulations.
Right. So to avoid the floodplain, they placed the building in the best desirable location to cause the least amount of impact to the floodplain and require the least amount of fill for the site. So this is what's considered the front of the hotel, which faces the parking lot. And this is another shot of the front. And here's from Leclerc and 3rd Street. And this is coming off of the bridge on Leclerc. This building, this low portion of the building is the swimming pool. So regarding the dumpster, we mentioned that it's in an acceptable location. However, it's possible if they removed all this landscaping here and made their parking lot deeper towards the pool, they could technically have a garbage or a refuge container there. However, it does really detract from the site to have it out visible on Leclerc Street so much. This is just the materials that they're using. We have recommended that the design review board is going to have the final say, but implied in that is that they use the same kind of materials that's on the building as they would for the refuge wall or screening. We did not recommend using the wood-like siding because I think it looks better to have it be more substantive with one of the cement-based products or masonry products. We notified everybody within 200 feet. We did not receive any comments either way, no telephone calls, no emails. So our findings, the applicant has met the ordinance creating hardship that has been established. The physical and topographic conditions of the site do limit the use. Unique circumstance has been established due to the situation of the 3 frontages and the floodplain. And the 4th, protection of essential character has been established. The design will be reviewed by the design review board, and it will match, fairly well what's in downtown and be appropriate. So staff recommends approval of the requests. Yeah, I think I forgot to put the
Scott's pulling out the conditions that were recommended in the staff report regarding
So-
the dumpster.
Should you approve the request, our conditions are, one, that a robust landscape plan for the dumpster enclosure shall be reviewed by a design review board and approved by planning staff prior to occupancy. And number two, the enclosure shall be constructed of the same materials as the hotel building. And again, the design review board will be reviewing that as well.
Does any of the commissioners have any questions for the staff?
I have a question. Can you go back to the, okay, so on there you said that's the corner where the dumpster will not be, correct?
Yeah, it's not,
So-
well, yes, this is where you're coming off the bridge
Okay,
and
It's passport.
yeah, so it's gonna be on the, where it's gonna be now is over here to the right off the picture here.
can
From
we
this-
see that from a different
yeah,
angle? Yeah.
From this plane here, it's in the corner here, that.
Oh, okay.
square.
Okay, I see.
Any other commissioners have any questions? Scott, I just have one. There's going to be no parking in front of this hotel, is there?
There's on-street parking on 3rd Street
Right.
and Leclerc.
Do you like the idea of having it on?
Our new ordinances encourages people to utilize on-street parking.
Even when the traffic from the Arsenal comes off that bridge?
Right, so the good thing about having cars parked along the streets is it makes pedestrians feel a lot safer. It creates a barrier between a heavy, busy street and the sidewalk. So people find that a more enjoying place to walk than where cars are flying up and down the road really fast,
Okay.
right next to the sidewalk without any kind of barrier in between. So that's the planning thought behind that, and so we're on favor of that.
I also would add that it's unlikely that many hotel users would be utilizing street parking on Leclerc. The entrance of the hotel is actually on the east side by the parking lot. And there isn't really much of an entrance or anything off of Leclerc for this. So they'll be taking entrance primarily off of the parking lot. And as a reminder, we do not have any required off-street parking in the downtown district, but due to the type of lot that they have, they're able to meet and exceed what they need to do.
I have one other question. The handicap parking, that, always want to make sure, and Scott has said to me many times that they're, with the law, and how
Yes.
many handicap parking spaces?
I do not know the exact number, but I do know that our E-Plan review system, it gets reviewed from every city department, and we also have outside consultants review, I believe, on most cases for ADA compliance. And so that is one of the primary things that we look at in our site plan review process.
There is a ratio, and it's required by state law.
I know,
so.
I know, but I want to make sure that they, okay. Okay. Any other questions for the committee? Seeing none. Applicant, I think you're here to represent, do you have any comments that you want to?
I believe we've
you wanna
got
come up?
8 handicap.
Thank you. Yeah, give us your name, please.
My name's Charles Miller. I'm with Austin Engineering. I'm the designer of the site. I believe we have 8 handicap parking spots adjacent to the building. It may have been reduced to 6 on the last sketch plan. I'm afraid I can't remember exactly for sure, but we are significantly in excess of the required number of handicap parking stalls.
Okay.
And with this layout, also, we have approximately 40 parking spots more than the minimum requirement for the hotel's ratio.
Commissioners, do you have any?
Oh, we also provide 4 spots that have charging stations for electric vehicles.
Okay. So I see no other questions for you. Thank you for coming today.
Absolutely, thank you.
Does anyone in the audience want to speak in favor of this request? Well, seeing none. Anyone in the audience want to speak to oppose this request? Seeing none. Applicant, got any final comments that you like to say, or?
I think we did the best that we could to meet as close as we could to the city's requirements, and it'll be a nice addition to the entrance to the city there.
Okay. Thank you. Any board discussions? Seeing none. Well, I'll ask for a motion.
I move to approve HV 2202 for the property at 227 LeClaire Street with the 2 recommendations by staff for the landscape plan around the dumpster and for the enclosure to be the same materials as the building.
I guess I just have one question, Scott. Is there a size that they have to, for that dumpster? That is
The wall has to be at least 6 foot tall,
okay.
and it's proposed to be in the acceptable range.
Okay, sorry for the interruption.
And don't forget, yeah, we need a second.
Yeah.
Okay, second, can I get a second?
Second.
Scott, roll call.
Layback,
Yes.
Boyd Carlson,
Yes.
Darland,
Yes.
and Rystra.
Yes. Your motion has been approved. You're here. Okay. Well, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved, we're adjourned.